Hey guys, Coach Urban, just going to come to you again with another video to uh, further your knowledge on World War One and some of the things that happened during this major world event. And we last time talked about some of the battles of World War One, but we need to understand what changed with the United States and what allowed them to come into the war. Um, by 1917, the focus of the war had shifted to the high seas. That year, the Germans intensified the submarine warfare that they were known for. And in January of 1917, the Germans announced that the submarines would sink any ship without warning. This is called unrestricted submarine warfare. And this is kind of a really major point. And so, the United States is going to end its neutrality and join the sides of the Allies April 6, 1917. But why? Why did they do that? Well, here we go. Something happened called the sinking of the Lusitania. Now, the Germans had tried this policy before of unrestricted submarine warfare, but on May 7th, a British ocean liner named the Lusitania had 2,000 civilians on board and 159 Americans. Okay, uh, it was sank by a German U-boat torpedo on May 7th, 1915. Now I know that's like, well, it's 2 years later. Coach, why does that matter? Well, there was a lot of different conspiracy theories and things of that sort that was, the U.S. was already helping the Allies by sending them, ammo and guns and things like that, and it was doing it through these ocean liners. The Germans claimed that the ship had been carrying that. Nevertheless, the American public was outraged. President Woodrow Wilson sent a strong protest to Germany, and after two further attacks, the Germans finally agreed to stop attacking neutral and passenger ships. But desperate for an advantage, they just kept doing it. About 1,200 people died, including 128 Americans. That's why it caused so much of an outrage. Again, the Germans defended it as if it was a war zone, but worldwide support began to grow for the Allies. And so the United States really starts thinking we might need to join the party here. And so this became a rallying cry. You have propaganda, all these pictures and issues make the Germans look really, really bad. But they started practicing it again. They knew it might lead to war with the United States, but they gambled that their naval blockade would starve the British into defeat before the United States could mobilize. And ignoring the warnings of President Woodrow Wilson, Germany sank 3 more American ships. Basically unanswered aggression, though. But this was not be the only event that would push them further to or closer to joining the war effort. In February of 1917, so closer to April 6th, another German action pushed the United States closer to war. Officials intercepted a telegram written by the Germans, Germany's Foreign Secretary Arthur Zimmermann, stating that Germany would help Mexico reconquer the land it had lost to the United States if Mexico would ally itself with Germany. That's like tampering with elections or all the other things that we've talked about in more modern times where a country is messing with the United States. That's basically what happens here. It was them promising to help another country take us over. They weren't going to take us over, but they were going to help that happen. This proved to be the last straw. This telegram asked Mexico to ally with Germany, and they would help them recover Texas, New Mexico, all those places. It proved that the American people would be willing to fight against the Germans, and they had already favored the Allies. So, in particular, they felt a bond with England. The two nations shared all their, this history, and so eventually, it led to them being allies. This was, of course, the way we figured this out is it was intercepted and decoded by the British, and they sent it to us, and they're like, hey. So there's more conspiracy theories that maybe this wasn't sent. Maybe this was a ploy to get us to be a part of it because the British knew they only had a short amount of time. But President Wilson asked Congress to declare war on Germany, and the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies April 6, 1917. And that's kind of the history of how the United States joined the war. And it's a major turning point in the war that we'll talk about next time. Okay, because that's what really changes the dynamic of the war. But hopefully you have these notes down. Hopefully you have an understanding of what really caused the United States to join the warfare between the uh, other European powers. Basically spilled over into the Americas and cost the Germans eventually because they, didn't heed the warnings of the United States. And so all this information can hopefully better understand how this was truly a world war, how really everyone became involved in it. But again, if you have any questions, send me an email. Make sure you do your discussion post about these events, what's interesting about them, and just make sure you are staying up to date on your notes. But any questions, send me an email, and otherwise, have a great day.